Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Alex and today I'm going to be doing the Enneagram Book Tag. Now this tag was originally created by Maureen from Maureen Kiwi, and I will leave her original tag video as well as all of the questions down in the description box below. If you're not familiar with the Enneagram, it is a personality, not a test exactly, but a personality categorization system that consists of 9 numbers. So everybody in the world falls into one of these 9 numbers, but you can pull from some of the other numbers on the Enneagram as well, but there is one that fits you. And the main thing that puts you in your specific category is your biggest fear and your biggest desire. So if you're new to the Enneagram, I'm just going to do a brief description of each of the types, and if you already know about the Enneagram, you can skip this. I'm also going to leave some of my favorite Enneagram resources down in the description for you. The Enneagram Institute is where you're really going to want to go if you're interested in learning more about the Enneagram and seeing what number you fall under. I believe the Enneagram Institute has a test on their website that you can take, but tests are not the most accurate determiner of your Enneagram number. That is a good place to start, I feel. It'll give you kind of an idea of some of the numbers that may fit you the best, but really it just takes a lot of research and looking at the types for yourself to determine, and it might take a lot to land on your number. I know I went through a couple of different options that I thought was my number until I actually came to the right one, and if you're curious, I am a 9 wing 1 on the Enneagram. So really quickly running through the 9 Enneagram types. Type 1 is the reformer. Type 1's basic desire is to be good and pure, and their biggest fear is to be evil or corrupt. Type 2, the helper, their biggest desire is to be loved, and their basic fear is not being loved or feeling unwanted. Type 3, the achiever, their biggest desire is to feel valued and worthy, and their basic fear is of feeling worthless. Type 4 is the individualist. Their basic desire is to create an identity and have a strong sense of identity, and their basic fear is not having an identity. Type 5 is the investigator. Their basic desire is to be competent and capable, and their biggest fear is being useless or helpless. Type 6 is the loyalist. So their basic desire is to be supported and secure, and their biggest fear is to be unsupported and unsecure. Type 7 is the enthusiast. So their basic desire is to be fulfilled and content, and their basic fear is not having their needs met. Number 8 is the challenger. Their basic desire is to be in control of themselves, so their basic fear is being out of control. And Enneagram Type 9 is the peacemaker. Their basic desire is having inner stability, and their basic fear is of separation, loss, and a lack of stability. So that is just a really brief rundown of the Enneagram. Again, I'm going to leave some links to some resources in the description if you're interested in learning more. The Enneagram is very complex, but it's a really good tool if you are interested in self-discovery and personality types and things like that. I love the Enneagram. I have appreciated it and learned more from it than I have from any other personality type quiz, anything like that. So if you're interested, look further into it, but the point of this tag is that there are 9 questions, one for every type of the Enneagram, and that's about it, self-explanatory. So without further ado, let's get started. So for type 1, the reformer, our question is to name a book that helped make you a better person. For this one, I'm gonna go with This Is How It Always Is by Lori Frankel. This book follows a 5-year-old boy who tells his parents that he is actually a girl. And the book actually follows mainly from the parents' perspective, and they already have 4 boys, and this is their youngest boy that is telling them that he is actually she. And they are learning how to deal with this, raising a daughter when they've only ever known sons, dealing with how the world is treating their daughter, and it's just a book about growth and development. It really touched me, and just it made me stop and think about how we judge other people, and we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and we don't know how everybody is being affected every day. I feel like this book was just a really good reminder of that. For type 2, the helper, name a book that was there right when you needed it. For this one, I'm going to go with Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This book follows our main character, Morgan Crow, and she has always been told that she is cursed. She is the reason for anything bad that happens in her town. Whether somebody just knocks a vase over or somebody dies, it is her fault. And she has been told that on her 11th birthday, she is going to die. But on the eve of her 11th birthday, a man named Jupiter North comes and swoops her away to Nevermore, where she will live, and the story continues from there. Now, this middle grade series has been compared to Harry Potter, and I will agree with that, but it is nothing like Harry Potter. it made me feel like Harry Potter because of the way I felt while reading it, that whimsical, nostalgic, magical kind of feeling. And when I read this book, that feeling is exactly what I needed. This book came into my hands at the perfect time. I absolutely love this middle grade series. 2 books are out so far. The 3rd one's going to be coming out in early 2020, and I cannot wait for it. For type 3, the achiever, name a character whose ambition you admire. And for this one, I have to go with Imani from With the Fire on High. Now, in With the Fire on High, Imani is a high schooler. She's a teen mom raising her daughter, trying to establish a relationship with her daughter's father. She is also living with her grandmother and trying to help her out, but Imani's true passion is cooking. She's in a cooking class at school and she loves it with all her heart, and she gets this opportunity to go on a cultural excursion to Spain with her class. So Imani's ambition all throughout this novel is just truly something to be applauded. She's trying to be a mother to her daughter while being a granddaughter to her grandmother. She's trying to help keep the family afloat while also navigating all the different relationships in her life, as well as trying to figure out what she wants to do after high school. Imani knows exactly what she wants, and she is going to do everything that she can to make a better life for her and her daughter. This, as you guys know, is my favorite book of all time because I admire Imani so much. So if you have not picked up this book yet, again, I say this in almost every video, but please go read it. For type 4, the individualist, name a book that makes you feel sentimental. For this one, I'm gonna go with Holes by Louis Satcher. Now, I actually never read the book Holes until I was in college, but I grew up watching the movie, absolutely loved it. To this day, it is one of my favorite movies. And then when I finally did get around to reading the book, it just made the experience even better. This is just a story that will always stick with me. I just think that it is beautifully crafted. The book and the movie are incredibly well done, and it's just something that I am always going to look back on with fondness, and I think I will love it forever. For type 5, the investigator, name a book that made you want to learn more about something. And for this pick, I'm going to go with Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. This is a World War II historical fiction novel that follows our main character when she and her family are transported from Lithuania to a work camp in Siberia. Now, we all know of the work camps that were in place throughout Germany during World War II, but the camps in Siberia are rarely ever talked about. I didn't even know that they existed before I read this novel. Ruta Sepetys does an incredible job in her historical fiction novels of highlighting lesser known historical events. So once I read this and I learned about the pure agony that these people had to go through just to get to the camp, let alone once they actually arrived there, it definitely made me want to look more into the topic and see what else there was in the history of this time. Another honorable mention for this category is Salt to the Sea by the same author. This book follows the sinking of the Wilhelm Gustloff, which was a maritime accident even more tragic than the Titanic. Again, everybody talks about the Titanic, nobody really knows about this incident, so another example of how Ruta Sepetys puts a spotlight on these lesser known historical events. Type 6 is the loyalist. You name a character that you will stay loyal to no matter what. And for this one, I have to go with Kale from the Throne of Glass series. Now, I've mentioned this in a couple of videos. Kale is my cinnamon roll. I love everything about him. I have loved him from the beginning. As of filming this video, I am in the middle of Kingdom of Ash, and I'm so glad to have my baby back because he was not in book 5 at all. Book 6 was phenomenal, and now we're in book 7. I know that a lot of people really disliked Kale after the events of book 4. I understand that, but I don't care. I love him. Number 7 is The Enthusiast. Name a book that added something to your bucket list. And for this one, I'm going to go with The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. And this added to my bucket list to go to Taiwan. This book follows our main character, Lee, and at the beginning of the novel, Lee's mother has died by suicide, and she turns into a bird and tells Lee that she needs to go to Taiwan to meet her maternal grandparents, which she never knew. Now, The Astonishing Color of After was a really great read for me. I think that I liked it a little bit less than the majority of people, but one thing that I really appreciated about this novel was the scenery. The vast majority of this novel takes place in Taiwan, and the descriptions of the places and the foods and the sights were just encompassing, and it just made me really want to go and visit Taiwan. Type 8 is the challenger. Name a character who is not afraid to tell it like it is. And for this one, I'm gonna go with Grace from The Nowhere Girls by Amy Reed. Now, in The Nowhere Girls, Grace is moving from Kentucky up to Oregon, and once she moves into her new house, she discovers that the girl who used to live in her house has moved away from the town after she accused one of the football players on their high school's football team of raping her. And nobody listened to her, nobody believed her, and so she and her family moved away. Along with two new friends, Erin and Rosina, Grace starts this anonymous group called the Nowhere Girls, where these girls are trying to expose what these boys are doing to them and try to finally get somebody to listen and do something about this problem that is going on in their school. Now, all three of the main characters in this novel are incredibly strong characters, but Grace in particular is completely not afraid to tell it like it is. Even though she's a new girl in town, she is totally not afraid to step out on a limb, put everything out there, tell people like it is, and make a stand for what she thinks is right. And I think that she, along with all the other characters in this book, are really, really admirable for that. And type 9, the peacemaker. Name a genre that you turn to when you want to relax. And for this, I'm gonna go with contemporary, fluffy contemporary romance. Whenever I want to really relax, I like just a light, fluffy, chick lit kind of novel where I don't have to think too much about the plot. It's set in our world, so I don't have to keep track of the rules of this world. I already know it. I just like a cute romance that I don't have to think about. I can just fly through it. It puts me in a good mood, and I can move on to the next thing. So that is it for the Enneagram Book Tag. Down in the comments below, let me know some of your answers to these questions, and let me know what Enneagram type you are. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up, as well as clicking the subscribe button and the bell icon down below so that you don't miss any of my content. So until next time, bye!